Welcome to Warhammer Warscroll Review. This is the first episode of Kit Compare, and this one will be focused on Terradon and Ripperdactyl riders.
Warscroll Review. Kit Compare.
Kit Compare is a series I wanted to do to compare and contrast two or more similar units. The units are similar either because they come in the same kit or because they fill similar roles in a different army. In this video, let's compare Ripperdactyls to Terradons, two different Seraphon units that are built out of the same model kit. First of all, their stat wheels are identical. 14-inch flying movement makes them both extremely fast. 3 wounds with 5 save, however, make them somewhat fragile. At least they have the Celestial Demon Bravery of 10. In addition to this, they both have the Swooping Dive special ability, an ability triggered at the end of the movement phase, allowing the models to reroll hit and wound rolls in the following turn. This ability is pretty great and will mitigate their average to hit and wound values. They can both be included in a powerful, albeit expensive Warscroll battalion. The Shadow Strike Star Host includes a unit of Ripperdactyls or Terradons, 2 units of Skinks or Chameleon Skinks, and a Skink Star Priest or Priest. The battalion has the ability to put the flying unit in reserves and deploy it on the table in a later movement phase 3 inches from the enemy. Not only that, but the unit can still move. I don't know why you would, but you can. This ability is pretty weird as far as I can tell, considering every other ability to deploy 3 inches away was removed from the game. From the large price tag on it, I gather it wasn't an oversight, and that's how it's intended to work. On the turn these models deploy, they can also add 1 to wound rolls in the combat phase. This battalion as a whole really helps the Ripperdactyls out way more than the Terradons, and the Rippers want to get into combat as soon as possible. It's also going to be getting the Rippers to be wounding on 2s with 2 out of 3 other weapons. Swooping Dives rerolling wounds sounds pretty great on 2s, doesn't it? Now there is a slight rules discrepancy for this battalion as far as the blot toads go. There's an FAQ answer that says units must be placed on the table to use special abilities, but the Ripperdactyl rule says place a blot toad in the first hero phase for each Ripperdactyl unit. I think it can be argued either way, but I really think the FAQ answer was meant for augmenting abilities like the Slans constellations. I mean, if none of the unit's special rules could be used when they're set up off the table, many units wouldn't be able to come back, as they would be using their special ability to do so. Like, how are Chameleon Skinks returning to the field if you can't access their special ability while they are off the field? I don't believe the rules in the FAQ directly counter each other, but make sure to work this out ahead of time with your opponents and TOs. Many TOs tend to allow the toad to be placed, but hopefully a FAQ will clarify it. If you aren't allowed to place the blot toad, the player could alternatively include another Ripperdactyl unit in their army and deploy it on the table. Although I feel Ripperdactyls make better use of it, I don't want to gloss over Terradon's usage of the Shadow Strike Star Host. Drop down where they want and fly over the unit since they can still move. Drop rocks, throw bolas, and then charge for a respectable surprise attack. As mentioned, the units are both Seraphon, meaning they can benefit from all the abilities and synergies that they have. For the most part, both flying units will be so far from the Seraphon support characters that they won't be in range of the buffs, so the normal Skink Priest Celestial Rights will go unused on them. Mystic Shield may be thrown on them here or there, but the player will likely have better targets unless the fires are in a large unit. They come in units of 3 and max out at 12 models, but the Terradons are 20 points cheaper. For 3 of either, it will cost around 120 points. I'm not going to go through all the weapon loadouts line for line, but the Terradons sport short-range weapons and a handful of weak melee attacks, while the Ripperdactyls get quite a few mediocre melee attacks and a shield that ignores Ren 1. Their special abilities are really different. The Terradons can do mortal wounds as they fly over units once per game. This is neat since they have such a high movement, but not only is it once per game, it only triggers on a 4-up, making it only reliably happening once per unit on 3. I'm not a fan of once per game abilities generally, and adding a 4-up roll makes it even more unappealing. The one way it may be dependable is in a large unit of Terradons in an army that includes a Skink Starseer. If the Seraphon player wants to invest Curse of Fate and 3 or 4 rerolls for Cosmic Herald, those bold rolls they drop can be quite deadly. The Ripperdactyl special rule is a bit easier to rely on, as it allows the Seraphon player to pick a point on the table to place a marker, and that marker can later move. Rippers attacking a target within 2 inches of the marker get 2 extra attacks on one of their weapons. Not only this, but that very same weapon gains additional attacks for every hit it scores. All this means a single Ripperdactyl base could be putting out 10 attacks that reroll hit and wounds. Obviously, the two models' roles differ in that Terradons will be fast harassing units, while the Ripperdactyls will be fast punchy units. Terradons will do decent damage killing infantry, but Ripperdactyls will do more. Terradon riders do have the chance to deal damage from a range, and therefore can target support characters, but they're still not likely to finish the job. Overall, let's do a point by point for each unit. Ripperdactyls have more and better melee attacks, but Terradons have ranged attacks. Ripperdactyls are more durable and offensive, while Terradons are cheaper. Ripperdactyls have a more dependable special ability, while Terradons have a chance to do mortal wounds with their special ability. The winner of this kit compare are the Ripperdactyls. Terradons are an okay harassing unit, but Seraphon have better options. The Ripperdactyls can offer an extreme initial punch, especially in a Shadow Strike Star host. Which of these war scrolls do you prefer? What war scrolls would you like to see compared or reviewed? Leave your thoughts, answers, and suggestions in the comments, and thanks for watching.